Hello, welcome. So, I'm going to be talking about the heart chakra. The heart chakra is one of my favorite chakras only because it's so hard to access sometimes. It's not something that comes to us immediately. When we think of emotions and how we handle them and how we see them and how we deal with them, a lot of the times we're reflecting off of our sacral space. The sacral space is very eye oriented. But when it comes to the heart chakra, this is where you become more expansive in how you see your emotions, how you deal with just yourself as an emotional being. And when it comes to the heart space in general, this is harder to access because it's not our first impulse. It's not our first impulse to think with this space. As I said in previous videos, these chakras are minds. Okay, whatever you think a mind is, you may have to reevaluate that, because when it comes to what a mind is, it's just something that you use to think with, whether that be through feeling, and that feeling takes you to emotions, or it's through thought forms. So thinking and feeling, these things are pretty much done and handled with these minds, these chakras. These chakras give us the energy to be able to think and feel. We are multidimensional, so we have these different aspects of us, and each aspect of us differs in density. And because of that, it's hard to recognize that each layer of you is of equal importance, especially because we think that what we feel in our ego and what we see outside of us is all that the world consists of. But to be honest, a lot of what goes on in the world is going on within you. Your thoughts dictate how you're going to be maneuvering through the world, and the way you feel while you're doing those things is hugely important, right? So let's talk about the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the power source for your heart space to function how it needs to. Your heart space is where you have one of your emotional aspects. So when it comes to your heart space, I can refer this back to one of the energy bodies, being the astral body. And the reason for that is because this area of you is related to your subconscious mind. You're probably thinking, how is my heart space related to my subconscious mind? As I said, you don't know what you feel sometimes. I've said this in like many videos, like you don't know how you feel sometimes. You need time to process it. You need to go back into your emotional memory bank, and sometimes you have to find that out through there because the answer is not obviously in front of you. So because it takes some time to discover how you feel, and not just how you feel when it comes to your sacral space, but I mean how you feel on a subconscious level. I could be feeling so many things but not thinking about how I'm feeling. Okay, I can be completely grounded in myself, in the present moment, but my thought forms could be somewhere else. Okay, and normally we're paying attention to the projection of thoughts rather than the emotional aspect of us. And so when it comes to your heart space, your heart chakra, this is where a lot of that energetic emotional data gets stored. When it comes to past traumas, how you were conditioned, your upbringing, how you're raised, things that affected you and even wounded your inner child, these things get stored within this space, this subconscious area of you. And the heart chakra also has this aspect called the inner child that reflects off of it. Um, Usually the inner child's protected by the ego, but we get these two mixed up. Like we get the heart space and the inner child mixed up. They're almost within the same realm. However, they reflect different qualities. Like these things have different aspects. And the heart differs from the inner child because the heart space doesn't it's what for first of all, your heart space isn't your first awareness. Like, it actually takes time for you to become aware of what's within your heart space, because it's so subconscious and there's so much energetic emotional data stored there. Also, when it comes to your inner child, because this is your inner child is your first awareness, it's like the thing that influences you the most to behave the way you do throughout the course of your life. You may be finding you're trying to fulfill this inner child because the inner child didn't get things during its upbringing, right? The heart space does not work that way. The heart space does not require much. It already has so much. It has a whole subconscious memory bank. Okay, it doesn't need anything else. But the more you pay attention to this space, the more you allow yourself to gain access to what's hidden in this space. It could be a space where you find a lot of subconscious memories. You can find out why you behave certain ways. It traces back to why you, in general, feel certain ways throughout the course of your days. Why you would feel that way in general. And that can look different for everyone, because we all have different astral travels. We've all had different experiences. There's not one single person in the world that's had the same life experience as someone else, okay? And your heart chakra is what lets you know that. The heart space is what shows you that you are original. Like, not in the sense where your ego is the projection of your individuality, but your heart is where you really feel that interconnectedness between who you are and what you project, and also how you actually want to how you actually like feel about things. You could be doing something your ego's doing, yet you can feel completely different within your heart space. Your minds, all of these chakras that are minds, they allow us to see different perspectives, different dimensions. These are different dimensions of us. Whatever you think a dimension is, you may have to scratch it out because maybe you don't know what a dimension is, but dimension meaning the level of density between these layers that we call life. Like, for example, my feelings are different from my thoughts. Okay, these are different dimensions already. And then having my physical form and seeing the physical world is another dimension. We call this the 3D, right? And then just the fact that I could have just been born and had no awareness, no full-on awareness towards certain things. If I have no awareness towards something, that is a different dimension technically, because it's like hidden. It's something completely separate, but yet it still exists. That could be considered a dimension. Anyways, so when it comes to your heart chakra and the subconscious mind, the heart chakra powers the subconscious mind to gather all these emotions and the emotional memory behind it. It kind of sustains it for you. And so you may see these things pop up in your dreams or when you least expect it, because it's so hidden in your subconscious mind. It can resurface. It's subconscious. So when you're in your dreams, for instance, you are in what is known as an astral body. Okay, you have this body all the time. It's an energy body. You have it all the time. But in your dreams, this is the body. This is the shape that you're in when you're exploring that realm. Okay, and when it comes to your astral body, this side of you doesn't like to be bound or limited, but it can feel bound and limited based on how much influence another aspect of life has on you. So let's say you're not very in touch with your feelings and you want things to be more solid and make sense, and you just deal with the practical. Okay, so that means in your dreams, you're most likely just going to have dreams about things that are practical. You're not going to be able to reach that boundless potential because you are so fixated on a certain way of thinking and being already, that your dream world's going to include things from your real 3D world. or whatever this is. So you're not going to be able to pull up a lot of that subconscious memory. You will feel that you don't have access to it, and a lot of those subconscious feelings, emotions, upbringings, whatever it may be, they become suppressed. They will still show themselves to you, but they may show themselves in ways where you may be able to understand it. So it would be probably a very practical dream, and then something happens. It seems practical, but it seems kind of out of the ordinary. And maybe that's just a sign showing you that something from your subconscious mind is resurfacing, and it's influencing how you feel every day and how you behave within your awake world, okay? And so the subconscious mind, because it stores all this data and because it's so subconscious in general, we begin manifesting unknowingly the things that we feel. Like whatever you're holding on to in here, like let's say you use your heart space, not just to, let's say you don't use it in the best way. Let's say you use your heart chakra, you have different programs within your heart chakra that you're always dissatisfied, and you're never you don't show gratitude, you don't show that you care, then you're going to manifest situations outside of you with that astral body that I said you always have. You're going to pull more of that towards you because your heart space is where all of that resonates, and people will, whatever resonates with that will become drawn to you, and then soon enough you have this accumulation of these things that you buried within yourself, refuse to pay attention to, but yet you have representations of that emotion or of that turmoil. Yeah, and as I say, you want to be able to catch things before they manifest physically, because yeah, we're always manifesting, and if you're not able to catch these things before they manifest physically, then you're just kind of like intertangling yourself with a bunch of like energetic obstacles and other energetic blockages, okay, and other spiritual blockages, okay. That could be anything can occur when it comes to the heart space. And I think that the heart space is one of the most complex parts of you. Like the ego likes to believe that it's complex. It can be very complex. It can structure itself to be sophisticated. It can structure itself to be childish. It can structure itself to be seen in this way or that way, or however you want the world to see you. Like the ego can structure itself that way, but when it comes to the heart space, you really don't know what you're building. You really don't know what kind of emotional memories being stored there. And so it can be very complicated, and it really depends on the individual soul, okay? And as I said about the inner child is like a reflection of this space. Like these aspects of you are emotional. And for the inner child may explore within that astral body to play out representations of that inner child aspect. That also depends on the individual and their upbringing. No one's going to have the same upbringing, and no one's going to have the same astral travels. So that side of you also accumulates a lot of stored memory, okay? So a lot of what the heart space is about is storing that emotional memory. Yes, for the sacral, it does store emotional memory, but those things are more accessible. It's something that you're always kind of acting on. It's not subconscious. It's something you know. If you're insecure, you most likely know you're insecure, right? Or if you're very confident, you know that you are. But if you are trying to find the different programs that exist within your heart space, it's going to require you doing a lot of inner work, maybe even doing dream work, and maybe even taking out old belief systems, from that inner child, whatever that inner child believed, letting go of those things and surrendering things that don't serve you. And also within that heart space, surrendering like emotions that don't serve you. Like if you find yourself generally angry and dissatisfied, then you're going to pull more of that into your experience. You're going to see more representations of why you should be dissatisfied and why you should be angry. And so that's why this space is so important, because whatever you have stored as energetic emotional data or just energetic data in general, it gets stored within this heart space. And what I like about the heart space is that it doesn't really have like fear. Fear isn't something that the heart space picks up on. If it does pick up on fear, it's more of like a speechlessness or a surprise. It's not like that gut wrenching feeling like in the sacral or the solar plexus. Solar plexus kind of picks up on it too, but the solar plexus is more your will drive to get things figured out, right? And the sacral is what picks up on that fear, that stomach knot, that feeling that we all hate. Okay. The heart space just picks up on surprise and shock and even speechlessness. Okay. Or maybe you can't breathe, and it's not that you're afraid in your stomach, it's that it's like your soul has been taken out of your body. Sometimes when you get scared, your first reaction is just like, oh my god, I didn't even know what to say, I don't even know what to do, I just froze. And it's just like, yes, because your heart space, that's how it translates fear. It doesn't translate it the same as your gut, it translates it completely different. And you'll notice that as you go up to as you learn more about the chakras, each chakra starts to kind of leave the fear feeling behind, like that normal feeling of fear that you're used to, where it kind of boosts your survival instincts, and it puts you into fight and flight. Your chakras from the heart up into your crown, it doesn't sense fear in the same way. It starts becoming very structured at a certain point, but I'm gonna get into that in another video. If you like this video, then you can hit the thumbs up button. I'll see you in the next one.